all along. Remember, this Democratic Attorney General who's up for re-election, if you're in Michigan right now, she's up for re-election in November, Dana Nessel. She cleaned house. She fired the original investigators, basically claiming they were incompetent. She starts brand new. I spoke with lawyers. They said, I've never seen anything like it. Sure, new attorney general comes in, maybe wants to, put somebody, one of her team in charge, but to fire everyone, to clean out the whole team that had been building all the cases for 3 years, unheard of. The Michigan Supreme Court in June tossed out the charges against Governor Rick Snyder and several other state officials who had been charged with serious crimes because the Michigan Supreme Court, Democratic judges and Republican judges on the court, it was not a partisan decision, found that the attorney general who claimed that she was firing this team because they were incompetent, that she did not follow the state constitution. Her and her prosecutors basically prosecuted the case in an unconstitutional manner because they used a one-man grand jury. Not to bore you, a one-man grand jury is just a judge. They used a one-man grand jury, a judge, to pass down the indictments against Governor Snyder and 8 other defendants. The normal process would be pretrials for the people you're charging, and then a judge decides after the public pretrials if there's enough evidence to then move them over to face a jury trial. She didn't do that. Her prosecutors didn't do that. A one-man grand jury is rarely used in the state of Michigan. They wanted to do it quick, and they used a one-man grand jury. The charges were tossed out because the Michigan Supreme Court ruled that was unconstitutional. Not only that, Steve, they didn't use a taint team. I hope your eyes don't glaze over. A taint team, which is technically what the Trump special master is supposed to be doing, is basically an independent third party that goes through documents that are going to be used in a criminal investigation to make sure none of those documents are attorney-client privilege. And if they're attorney-client privilege documents, then they can't be used. A taint team takes time because you're going through, in the case of Flint, hundreds of thousands of documents, and it would take several years. They didn't use that either. So this attorney general, who threw the original investigators under the bus, by my reporting, lied through her teeth over this for political reasons. She wanted the glory. She wanted the glory on bringing people to justice, and she didn't want the glory to be the Republican attorney general before her, who appointed the special prosecutor to oversee the case. It is 8.5 years later, and today, Colin, if you have the article, Flint water crisis charges dismissed against 7 former officials. So in addition to Governor Snyder in June, the charges against him were tossed. Now 7 more officials. The charges have been tossed based on the same exact Supreme Court ruling that the way this attorney general and her team went after these, and by the way, I have no love for any of these defendants. Most of them are guilty as hell and should be in prison. But it was against the Constitution. Colin, let me read some of it. Felony criminal charges tied to the Flint water crisis against 7 former government officials have been dismissed by a Genesee Circuit Court judge. Judge Elizabeth Kelly issued the order granting dismissal of the cases on Tuesday, October 4th, saying the indictments issued against the officials, including former governor, former cabinet members of former Governor Rick Snyder, are invalid. The ruling wipes out criminal charges against Nick Lyon, the former director of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, who, by the way, my reporting has shown was part of a criminal cover-up to cover up the deadly Legionnaires outbreak and not notify the public. He knew about it a year and a half before the state went public. Charges against him dropped. Snyder's former senior advisor, Richard Baird, who I broke a story for Vice News in 2020, literally was going around Flint offering sick residents payoffs to stay silent. This is the governor's top advisor and self-described best friend. Charges were just dropped against him and several other officials. You know, Steve, in this line of work, it's pretty much doom and gloom. We don't have a lot of victories, but at least for me as a journalist, I've been there 18 times. I have fought not only for those residents, but fought the media to just fucking give a shit about this, to keep paying attention to this, to actually report on, to me, the biggest cover-up of the 21st century. I'm writing a book on it. But it is absolutely infuriating when you have this attorney general paraded around on MSNBC like she's some fucking hero. Dana Nessel has gone on MSNBC and CNN. She's been showered with affection by the resistance because she was taking it to Republicans who tried to forge, fake electors and stuff like that. She was taking it to Republicans around the country and filing all sorts of things over Republicans and their election shenanigans. Not one of them asked her, what the hell is going on with your cases in Flint? Not one of them asked her, why did you fire an entire team led by very, very experienced prosecutors and investigators, start from ground zero, and there's still no justice for Flint? This is 8.5 years later. If nobody's in prison now, nobody's going to be in prison. This is America.
It's pathetic, Jordan. It's pathetic. Is there any prayer of getting this redone under a different charge? Is there any way of getting it brought back up? Because, I mean, for God's sake, the crime happened. It's documented. Steve, incompetence left it off. I mean, it's ridiculous.
These, basically, you know what? Let me just give you one example. Okay, Colin, I sent you the clip. One of the people who was charges dismissed today because of this attorney general's gross incompetence was Richard Baird. He was known, by sources that I have, known as the governor's henchman. The governor's henchman. He went around Flint offering payoffs to sick Flint residents, right? He, by my reporting, and I broke this for Vice, in 2014, 6 months after the water switch, an aide to Governor Snyder, his environmental advisor, sent an urgent email to the governor's chief of staff and several other officials, pleading with them to switch Flint back to Detroit, get them off the Flint River because there was dangerous levels of bacteria. He pulled her aside and threatened her. Never send another email like that again. This is the governor's right-hand man, and the governor didn't know what he was doing? The governor didn't know that the water was unsafe? This is the individual, one of the individuals that he tried to pay off. This is Adam Murphy. He's a sick Flint resident. Drinking the water gave him seizures, memory loss. He couldn't work anymore. Couldn't hold his kids anymore. He popped off at a water town hall. Got media attention. A few weeks later, the governor's right-hand man is in his living room offering that the state will pay for his medical treatment. But you can't tell anyone who's paying for it. Let's take a look.
We're wasting our time and we're dying. People have died from this damn water, and all you guys can sit up there and just pretend like it's no big deal.
After you were pulled aside, as you said, the officer said, maybe I could get you a meeting with Governor Snyder. That then turned into an advisor to the governor. And then in late February 2017, Richard Baird, who was known as kind of Governor Snyder's right-hand man, he shows up in your living room with Scott Hippica, who described himself as a former Black Ops Marine, is how it was described to me. With him was a state trooper and also Cheryl Thompson with the state health department. Do you have memory of those people being in your living room?
Yes. Yeah, I called it the round table because they all sat at the table with me.
Okay. And it was you and
my parents,
mm-hmm.
Christina, and basically the government. And so he called it a pilot program.
This was Richard Baird said that.
Yeah, Richard Baird. Yeah, he said that. And so he thought if I could find a doctor that they would be willing to try and get things paid for through a pilot study. It all went through the powers that be. You know, I don't even know where it came from, to be quite honest.
I've actually seen the messages. It came from the state health department was paying for your treatment. through, you know, handling things with your ex-wife. They basically told you, well, if this treatment, chelation treatment, works for you, then great, we'll make it available to more residents in Flint. Is that how they described it?
Yeah, that's pretty much what they said. And I thought they were going to treat our whole family. That's what I thought. But then when everything kind of got, I started treatment, then they came back and said, no, we're just going to do you. If it works for you, then maybe we'll do it for other people. And so I was like, this is ridiculous. You know, like you're going to wait 5 years, 2 to 5 years before you let people know that this is an option. This should be an option for the whole entire city. Right. I mean, it's not just one person.
That was Adam Murphy, unfortunately still sick. And the nuts and bolts is he raised hell at a town hall, and Governor Snyder's administration, their MO, neutralized threats. So he got media attention. They went to his house and offered to pay for his treatment, but you can't tell anyone, and calm down a little bit. And by my reporting, they did this to other people. I gave that to the Attorney General's office. I gave the Attorney General's office Adam and Christina's information. I told them about what happened. That was the basis. My reporting was the basis for one of the charges against Richard Baird, the governor's right-hand man, misconduct in office, which was misuse of funds. Charges against him were dropped today when he was trying to pay off sick residents. And it's not just that family. There was several others he tried to do that to. And the governor didn't know. He was the governor's right-hand man. You think Karl Rove was just freelancing for George W. Bush? No. The governor knows. The top guy always knows. They might not be in the room when it's happening, but they know. It's pretty revolting, Steve, and it really says something about just our government, our humanity, that we have a legal system that allows this, that allows wealthy white individuals to get away literally with murder. Literally, because the numbers the state put out are complete bullshit. Thousands of people have died from this water in Flint, not the number they put out, which is 12. Cancers, kidney failure, liver disease, all sorts of things. Children permanently damaged with learning disabilities, autism, mood problems. Crime is up. Well, lead has that effect. And nobody is being held accountable. And this attorney general is probably going to win re-election in a landslide. Her Republican opponent for attorney general is a lunatic. I think another election denier. And she's never going to be challenged on this. And she's just going to blame the people that she fired, even though she is grossly incompetent, and let the people of Flint down. And it's really unfortunate because I keep seeing people that I've gotten to know die, get sicker and sicker. It's harder for me to even get a hold of sources because they're sick. And, you know, it's hard for them to even talk on the phone for long periods of time. And, you know, unfortunately, you ask, can this go to another person? I don't know. At a certain point, how reliable are witnesses 8.5 years later? Memories fade, you know? So this is just a grave, grave injustice. And it's even a bigger injustice that, again, I don't mean this as a pat on my back, that literally me and Status Coup with basically no resources are the only ones still covering this, still breaking news. I have another story, hopefully coming out soon for a larger outlet. This is America. And by the way, if they get away with it in Flint, and it seems like they're going to, do not think other mayors and city council members and governors won't do the same exact thing in a place near you. Maybe it won't be water. Maybe it will be over something else. But if they know, wow, they got away with poisoning people in Flint, nobody's going to see a day in jail. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Water definitely finds its own level. And these folks, they're definitely dumbing us down. They're definitely making us give up. You know what I mean? That's the idea. They're definitely, this is systematic. It's across the board. They're literally trying to steal whatever fight and energy we have to protect ourselves from predation. I mean, every step along the way. And for someone like myself who focuses on the economics, to know how simple it would be to fix all of this, but to know that they won't, because ideologically it violates both Republicans and Democrats' absolute love affair with neoliberalism. There's just no prayer. And I'm at a point now where I go to bed angry. I wake up 5-6 times a night angry. I wake up in the morning angry. I go through my workday angry. I'm tired of do nothings. I'm tired of people telling me that's just the way it is. I'm tired of people telling me just fall in line. I'm tired of it. I mean, I'm tired. I'm ready for something better than this, man. I'm so sick of it. And it's eaten my soul alive watching this stuff go on over and over again. And then I don't know how people are able to just change their thinking suddenly in November and go, vote blue, vote blue. I have no idea how one does that. All I can think of is that I want to bring an end to this fucked up neoliberal system that allows for this kind of stuff, that merges state and corporations, that literally makes us commodified bullshit. I mean, it is so painful to feel so powerless. And yet here we are trying to give this information out there, and the system itself guts it and throws it in the trash. Devastating.
Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.